Right, today we've got another round of updates, reveals and new info for the Monument of Triumph update coming on June 9th. I've actually been away from home for the last week, so there are a couple of things I've missed here which we'll round up. But additionally, Bungie talk about their post-launch support for this update, preview an absolutely humongous patch. We also get a look at some new exotic rewards, including an exotic weapon, vendors for Monument of Triumph, some pretty wild armor, and a couple of other updates from Bungie. So if you enjoy the video, get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with everything related to the game. But now, let's get into it. First up, Bungie did actually share that Monument of Triumph has its own dedicated soundtrack, obviously drawing on a bunch of the classic music that we've had in Destiny over the years, and the team say we're proud to present this collection of music, our largest Destiny 2 soundtrack release ever, featuring a wide array of tones and moods. These songs have accompanied your triumphs through the game and continue to reflect one of Destiny's enduring themes, an unwavering optimism for a brighter future, even in the darkest moments. So another kind of big component of this update, I also like the reference to the darkest moments there, which kind of feels like it reflects the community's efforts to get Sony and Bungie to continue producing Destiny content. On that subject, the Destiny community turned up for Summer Game Fest to spam the chat with "We want Destiny 3" and the like for 2 or 3 hours, which is another impressive showing following State of Play that we had earlier in the week. So folks in other corners of the gaming industry might be kind of saying these Destiny players are somewhat annoying at this point, but honestly, we don't care, do we? Bungie also teased that the patch next week is going to be 71 pages of patch notes, 17,000 words, which is absolutely bonkers. But in terms of support for the game beyond the June update, Bungie have said, following the release of this update, Destiny 2 will no longer receive planned live service content updates. However, we may still need to release a hotfix for the health and stability of the game, which at least confirms that Bungie won't just throw it out and hope for the best, I suppose. Where critical updates are needed, we will still get them, so there probably will be at least a handful of patches in the weeks to follow the drop of Monument of Triumph. And speaking of the update, Bungie dropped some new information about rewards. So, they say, we'll see the return of previously limited time Shatterwhite, Super Black, Griffon, and All-Star Vector Skimmer, with 12 armor ornament sets per class, which is beyond the armor updates to other vendors around the tower, so this is specifically in relation to Monument of Triumph. There'll be new Universal Helmet ornaments, including a new Flaming Helmet, that's actually the one that previously was slated for Call to Arms, as well as the first earnable holochip, the return of exotic faction ornaments, a weapon ornament for Turncoat, and new reward pass exotic hand cannon, so that's the one we saw in the trailer recently. They also tease another new exotic weapon, a linear fusion rifle, that we can just about see through the blur in this screenshot. And these vendors will also feature a selection of endlessly purchasable engrams as well. So essentially, during the main part of the event, we'll earn something called Legendary Marks. These drop by completing triumphs from Monument of Triumph, and then we can use that currency to make purchase on the Tenet of Bravery, which will unlock a handful of other purchase options. So the Tenet of Bravery, as we can see, will feature a new skimmer, new Universal Helmet ornament, as well as Fafnir, if I'm saying that correctly. That's a new exotic weapon, I think. Plus Heir Apparent will be featured there as well. And we can see the linear fusion rifle there in the background. And progressing the Tenet of Bravery will unlock the other tenets. So there's also Tenet of Devotion, that features a selection of SRL cosmetics, the Griffon, which was previously the Heavy Metal Sparrow, and the All-Star Vector Skimmer. We can see as well these feature a whole bunch of new cosmetics, but there's also the Tenet of Sacrifice, with a new Universal Helmet ornament, Super Black Shader, an earnable holochip, and general finishes, ghosts, and ships. Then finally, the Tenet of Death. This is the one that features the new Flaming Helmet, as well as some random exotic armor ornaments, a selection of raid and dungeon-related cosmetics, the Chatterwhite Shader, and we can see some emblems there which are pretty cool as well. But there'll be an armor set called Immortal Legends. So, Bungie say while the majority of rewards can be purchased as soon as the required number of legendary marks are earned, some rewards will ask you to complete specific triumphs or sets of triumphs to be able to purchase them. That includes Chatterwhite, where you need to complete a weekly deep side quest, which is offered from Hawthorne in the Tower Bazaar. Then, the Flaming Helmet, I'm not even going to try and say the name, but that requires us to complete 8 triumphs in the Teamwork Raid Challenges category, so that'll be heavily linked to the raids and Pantheon. And there'll be the Immortal Legend armor set, which requires us to obtain the Immortal title. You can see as well, on top of the cool armor there, the Guardian is actually holding what is potentially another new exotic weapon, if not just another exotic ornament. Bungie share a deeper preview of this particular set, which pays homage to that early Titan concept or armor set that was previewed for Destiny 1. And when equipping both the chest and helmet ornaments, a crown is placed upon your skull, and if you'd like the helmet without the crown, you can replace the chest piece. And we get a higher quality preview of this armor right here, including across all 3 of the classes, so those are pretty exciting, but just keep in mind, it will be one of the deeper pursuits for this particular update. And again, I'm pretty curious about the weapon that the Guardian's holding there as well. Aside from that, there'll be some additional cosmetics. Bungie say we have something extra ready for every player that logs in to play Monument of Triumph. In addition to 2 bright engrams and 50 legendary marks, you'll also receive the Toast to the Monument emblem when you return starting June 9th. That's the one with all the characters that we can see on screen right there. But additionally, for more veteran players, those who've played all Destiny 2 has had to offer from the Red War to Renegades, there will be the Old Lights emblem. Bungie clarify how this actually works. So they say, did your Bungie ID and accounts across all platforms that you have linked between September 6th, 2017 and June 8th, 2026. Log in and play at least once during all of these time periods. So basically, those are all of the major launch years for expansion content: Forsaken, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, Final Shape, and Year of Prophecy. You don't have to have played specifically in the launch month for the expansion. In fact, I think if you played any time in that year, you'll be eligible for this emblem, which Bungie say will drop during the launch window. So a whole bunch of cool rewards there coming for Monument of Triumph, and once again, they are on top of the new playlist rewards, destination drops, all of the raid things, SRL, and playlist specific stuff, so there's going to be a lot to unpick there. They do finish with a warning about Trials engrams. They say they're resetting all of them on June 9th. So it's a general warning for players to visit Saint 14 and cash in all engrams that may be holding. Otherwise, they will be lost next week, so don't forget about that. A final mention, but Bungie did share a returning player frequently asked questions blog, so if you're coming back after a bit of a break, maybe worth taking a look at it. There's also a support guide for the content update in general, so those two will be linked down below if you fancy the read-in. But for today, there we go. Even more juiciness for Monument of Triumph. And as we said at the start, players have continued to make a lot of noise about wanting Destiny to be supported in the future. We don't really know how things are going to pan out with Bungie and Marathon and everything else going on over there, as it's a pretty weird situation, but we can certainly do our best. Give me your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the roundup, a rating would very much help us out as well. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.
Thank you, Guardian. Because of you, what was unraveling is suddenly stabilizing. Earth may yet heal, and that's something worth celebrating. May this time be a moment of reflection, remembering what came before, reassessing our present, and readying ourselves for the future. The Traveler has nestled above the last city once again.
It's time, Guardian. Crush them. One final push and victory is yours.
Know that you decide what your future holds.